Yep, microphone is on. Move my water, get my light over here where it needs to be. There we go. All right. And now we wait. Pretty much the only thing left to do, get some people in here into the chat. Pretty cool stuff. It's always a little slower getting started over here on YouTube. Doop. All right. Okay, we are ready to go. So hopefully some people will be popping through here any minute, and then we'll get things started. Wait till I see somebody pop up. But there is a 30-second delay. So I'm going to just go ahead and introduce myself for the people who might be popping in right now. Oh, what's going on? Nice to see you here. My name is Logan. I run Reef Rookies, and I teach people how to do saltwater aquarium stuff. So very happy to have you in the chat with me. If you have any questions about saltwater aquariums, I will do my best to answer them for you. Or if it's just something that you're interested in. Oh, hey, Ken, what's going on? Nice to see you, man. So anyway, yeah, we're just getting started. We're going to do a little live here on YouTube for a while, see how things go. If it kicks off, we might stay, or if it dies out after a while, we might move platforms and see how it goes in another place. But we'll give this a good old college try. You know, what's going on, Vibes? Nice to see you back in the chat. Lovely having you here. So what do you guys have going on with your tanks right now? Are you doing anything today or prepping anything for the weekend? Is there any cool coral shows coming up for you? There's one for me coming up on Saturday. So that's going to be neat. Trying to get a few things for the tank. It's going to be a good time, I hope. Lunch break. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, fortunately, well, it's sort of fortunate and unfortunate with my back injury right now. I don't have to worry about lunch breaks. But I do have to worry about getting hurt. So that kind of sucks. Need to aquascape the 120. Cool. What size 120 is it? Is it the 4 foot long, 120 gallon? I think those are. It's a nice dimension of a tank. I like them quite a bit, actually. It's a pretty cool tank for sure. But yeah, hopefully, I do know already that I'm picking up a variegated Montipora cap from another local reef keeper. It is. It's red and also green and has some orange and maybe even some yellow tones in it. I am thinking that I'm going to put it right over here, right in the back. I'm probably going to pick up another rock to go behind this one, and I'm going to put that cap on that rock, and I'm just going to let that Montipora cap just get huge over here. To be huge and variegated with all those colors, I think it's going to be a cool thing. Are the variegateds overrated? I don't know. You know, I like them because they're pretty, you know, multicolored Monty caps, got different colorations in it and whatnot. I like them because of that. They're all kind of unique, you know. I wouldn't say they're overrated. I would say that in most cases they're overpriced. So, but I'm getting about she said she's going to cut me like a 2-inch big square frag of it for $20. So it's not too bad. The prices on corals around here are really not that bad altogether. They're honestly pretty good in this area. But it depends on where you go. Some of the stores and some of the people, they have pretty high prices. So yeah. Let's see. SP says, and find a power supply for my third Radeon XR30. No, you're definitely going to need the third one for it's a 6 foot 120. Okay. So yeah, you'll definitely need that third one. You should be able to find that power brick though. You ought to be able to get one, you know, on eBay or somewhere like that, or maybe even like a local reef keeping group. Somebody might have one laying around. You know, maybe their light broke and they still have the power supply handy. I think there are some universal ones as well that you may get. You know, that as long as they match the power output of the factory one, you should be okay. But yeah. Those are good lights. I like the XR30s. I would definitely run them, you know, but it's not what I picked this time. You had, bro, you had gumbo? I would like some gumbo. I make a pretty good gumbo myself, if I do say so myself. It's just been a while because it's it's quite expensive to make like a good seafood gumbo, you know, with all the stuff that you need, the crabs and the shrimps and sausages and all of that, you know, especially if you're doing it real with andouille sausage and all, it can be about 50, 60 bucks for a big pot, you know, but it's all right. Jay says, hello, what size is your tank? So the tank you're seeing behind me is a 210. It's 6 feet long and 2 feet front to back and 21 inches in height. And then I have down below down here, I've got a 75-gallon sump, Trigger Systems sump below it. So I have a total water volume of 250 gallons. Just Shorts Aqua. That's an interesting name. I might have to check out your channel. Do saltwater aquariums need heaters in the winter? So here's the thing with heaters and chillers and all that. We need to keep our saltwater aquariums at a constant temperature, relatively speaking, 78 to 80 degrees. Some people run 76. Some people run, 72, not 72, 82. It just depends on what your personal preference is. Some corals and some fish tend to like it a little warmer. Some like it a little cooler. What you need to do to make sure that it stays there depends on like where you live in the world. So I live in Louisiana. It's pretty friggin' hot here, right? My house stays on 74 degrees basically all year, summer and winter. And we use the main AC and heat in the house to do that. So all I have to do for my tank is I run two 200 watt Eheim heaters, and it keeps my tank at 78 degrees because the tank needs to be a little bit warmer than ambient air. Yo, Tap, dropping in with the super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. You are a freaking superstar, dude. I appreciate that so much. And thanks for stopping in to say what's up. It means a lot, man. Your support of the channel is unwavering, and I appreciate it a lot. What test kits do you use, Tap? I'm just curious. I don't remember. So yeah, anyway, about the temperature. In some places, if it gets very cold, you may end up having to run a bigger wattage heater, to make sure that the tank can stay at the proper temperature. Or in some places where it's really hot in more temperate or even in like desert climates and stuff, you may end up having to run something called a chiller, which is like a refrigerator, for the aquarium so that you can bring the water temperature down. We used to have to run chillers a lot about 20 years ago when everybody was running metal halide lighting on the aquarium because that lighting gets very hot. And a tank like this, I would have 400 watt metal halides on this tank. And not only was it very hot, it was very electrically expensive because those lights are extremely powerful. They suck a lot of juice out of the electrical system. And so, yeah, you'd find people, even in climates like mine, having to run chillers to keep their tanks cool down to the proper temperature. But it just depends. And then Jay says, do you have to reinforce your floor to hold the extra weight of the tank? And SP says, it depends if you're on a slab or have a basement. That's very true. What SP said is very true. So my house here is on a slab, concrete slab. So it's not something that I had to worry about. I could put just about any tank that I wanted on this slab without having to worry about any reinforcements or anything like that. Up to about 1,000 gallons, as long as it spanned enough distance, I don't think I would really worry about it too much. But on a raised frame home, like we have homes here in Louisiana, because it's so wet, they're raised up off the ground. They have a crawl space underneath them, so it's just wooden floor joists and things like that. You would have to contact a structural engineer or a general contractor, somebody like that, get them to take a look at your structure and then how you want to orient the tank in that structure. Because if your floor joists are running like this, right, they're parallel to each other like this, and you want to run the tank across them, wherever the wall is that you want to put the tank, you're going to be able to have a heavier tank in that situation than if your floor joists are like this and you need to put the tank this way. So it's just going to really depend on like what tank you want to run, how big you want to go, your floor joists, how strong they are, how close the tank is going to be to an actual piling that goes down and touches the ground, all of that matters. So I will tell you this. I lived in a raised frame house before, and it was an older raised frame, so it wasn't modern construction. It was old school construction. It had 2x6s underneath it as floor joists back when the wood was actually the correct dimension. A 2x6 measured 2 inches by 6 inches, not an inch and a half by 5.5 like we have these days. That house, I had a 75-gallon aquarium, was the biggest one that I put in that house. And I had it on an exterior wall, and I had it going across the floor joist like this. It was perpendicular to the floor joist, and it was right on top of where a piling was. And when I walked around in that house, I could still see the water wiggle in that tank. So it made me very uncomfortable for a long time. I ended up moving the tank into another part of the house that we didn't walk right next to the tank all the time, and that was better. But it's still something that you definitely have to consider. If you have a raised frame house, wood floor frame house, and you're going to go bigger than 75 gallons, I would definitely talk to a professional that would be able to look at that and give you some advice. So that's what I would say on that. Hopefully that answers your question. Vibes is headed back to work. All right, man. Well, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate that a bunch. Always nice having you here. And Jay says, thank you, no problem. Happy to answer your questions. If anybody has any other questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Love to answer them for you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do drop that subscription. And I have memberships available as well. If you've been here for a while and you want to directly support me every month, that is available. You can go to my homepage. Right next to the subscribe button is a button that says join. And there are some perks that come along with that. So that's pretty cool. My DOG might lose its mind in a second because there's another one walking by the front out here. If he sees him, he might go crazy. But so far we're good. I think he's asleep. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And thanks again, Tab, for that super sticker, man. That means a lot. I appreciate that. So I'm doing a water change today, just to let you guys know what I've got going on. I'm actually in the middle of recording for a video on how to make saltwater. So that's going to be coming out in a day or two. So if you're interested in that, be sure to look out for that. It's a pretty easy process, but people have told me here recently, I heard it almost back to back from 3 different people, that the thing that is stopping them from getting into saltwater is the complexity of having to use an RODI water filter and all of that to mix their own salt water at home. They just don't understand what's going on. So I'm making a video for them, those types of people who need those questions answered. And it's really not that hard, guys. It really isn't. It's pretty simple to make your own salt water at home. Just a couple of things that you need to do in specific orders. It's very easy. So be on the lookout for that video. That video is coming soon. I have another video that I'm planning, and I'm not going to tell you a lot of details about it, but I've been working on this video already for over a month. And it's going to be a really cool video for people who want to learn about the Hydros computer automated side of reef keeping, specifically with Coral View Hydros, which is what I'm running on this tank. So that's going to be a very good video. I do not know when that video is going to come out. I have a lot of planning left to do. I've got to talk to the people over at Coral View to see if maybe I can do some filming of some stuff. So anyway, that's going to be an exciting one. I am excited about that. But it's going to be a while before that one comes out. Another thing that I would like to do as soon as I can afford it is, if you didn't know, I'm also going to be having a back surgery soon as well. I'm going to be having a fusion at L5S1. So carrying anything is going to be out of the question for like the next 6 months. But that's not going to stop me from making content. I'm just going to have to make a different kind of content than I wanted to. But I want to do a start to finish setup of a saltwater aquarium from the very first, here's the tank, and take it all the way through the setup. So what I think I might do is talk to some of the local people in my area, find out who is going to be setting up a tank next, and maybe go to their home and film with them and include them in the video. It would be pretty cool. The Pyrotechnic said, you hear about yellow tangs being found in the Philippines? No, I had not heard about that. So is that something that has happened recently? The yellow tangs were found in the Philippines. Were they not already there? I didn't know. I've never researched the yellow tangs in that much depth. I know that usually they come from Hawaii into the industry, but of course Hawaii has put that ban on the export of all fish and stuff from Hawaii to the rest of the world right now. So we couldn't get the yellow tangs. But yeah, I didn't know that. Were they never there? It's not a fish that is endemic to that region. Like I said, I've never researched in depth into yellow tangs. It's not really a fish that interests me all that much, if I'm honest with you. I had one before. It went crazy and killed my whole tank. Look it up. They found some and have been able to export a few wild caught ones. That's very interesting. I am going to have to look that up. I do want to stay. Ow, hang on. My cough drop was cutting my gums. I do want to stay current on what's going on in the reef keeping world, but my only source to worldwide news is the internet. I don't really have anything else to go off but that. But that's interesting. I'm going to take a look at that and see what's been going on about that. But yeah, yellow tang's not really a fish that I've ever been super interested in. I do want to get a. I'd really like a powder blue. That's my favorite tang, is the powder blue tangs. I'd like to put one of them in here. I've had some before. Zebra somas be like that. Yeah, it went berserk and killed the entire tank. It wasn't a good time. I have something in my eye, you guys. Hang on a sec. But I would like to get a powder blue tang for the tank. That's my favorite tang, like I said. And I know all the risks that come along with them and whatnot, but it is my favorite, and I would like to have one. And I would like to also get a lemon peel mimic tang, because my wife really likes the lemon peel angelfish, but that's not a fish that I could keep in a reef tank. I already have a coral beauty in here somewhere. I'm not seeing her on the screen. Oh, my back, man. But the lemon peel mimic tang looks almost the same as the lemon peel angelfish. So I'd like to have one of those, add some yellow coloration to the tank for sure, because the only yellow fish I've got, I don't know where he went. Oh, he's over here on this side. The only yellow fish I have is the fox face. So I'd like to get a little more yellow in there. I would also like to put several yellow cardinal fish in here, but I have to do some research on them to see if the yellow cardinal will get along with the bang-eye cardinal, because they're same family of fish. I don't know if they're compatible or not. I haven't done the research yet, so I need to research that. I suspect that they would probably be okay because they're so different of a fish, and I'd like to get about 6 of the yellow cardinals and put them in here and have a little school of those swimming around. They don't get very big, about 2 inches max, I think. It's about as big as they get. You had a powder brown that murdered an engineer goby. He went in there and got him? Wow, that's crazy. I've heard that the powder browns can do that too. I like chocolate tangs. They seem to be gentle, and I like all 3 of their color phases. Yep, that's a cool fish too. Definitely is. I might consider putting one of those in the tank at some point in the future too. My like goal fish for this tank is really not a big fish at all. I want to have a mated pair of psychedelic mandarin dragonettes in this tank. It's not set yet. It's not ready to go. It's not there yet, but we're getting there. I've got more phytoplankton on the way, so I can continue culturing my own, because for some reason my phytoplankton culture crashed. I don't know why. Everything was clean. Everything was good. They died. Don't know why. But yeah, so anyway, Josh's Goldies says dream tank. Oof, boy, do I have a dream tank. And how many gallons is this? The display is 210, and then I have a 75-gallon sump down below down here. I'll show you. I have a 75-gallon sump down here that holds 50 gallons of water. And so it's 260 total gallons. I said 250 earlier, but I meant 260. So yeah, that's what size it is. It's 6 feet long, one side to the other, and 2 feet front to back and 21 inches high. And in bad need of a lot more corals. I lost a lot of corals over the last 6 months dealing with some sort of a crazy algae that kills corals on contact. So that's nuts. But yeah, my dream tank, I would very much like to have in the same spot right here, but out with a fish room behind it. So the tank would actually be sitting about where I am right now. A 10-foot, 500-gallon tank. That's my dream tank. It'd be 10 foot long, 4 feet front to back, and 3 feet high is how big it would be. But that is a big undertaking. You have to be able to almost get in that tank to reach all of the area of the aquarium. So I'm very heavily considering a different dimension that would be easier to maintain. But yeah, love the blue look. Yeah, appreciate that. That is a look that we tend to gravitate towards in saltwater aquaria due to coral and algae growth and stuff like that. So corals, they tend to use more of the bluer spectrums of light for their growth and whatnot. They still use white and all the other colors too, but they use a lot of blue. And as a double benefit, the bluer spectrums of light grow algae less than the other white, yellows, reds, and greens. So it's kind of a double win. You know, you can run the tank a little more blue like this, and it does good for the corals and bad for the algae. So it's kind of both. I just moved finally, got my own fish room. It's small, but I can fit a 50 and a 10 and a 5-gallon tank. Could do more if I made a shelf unit. Cool. That sounds cool. I have another spot over on the other side of the house from where I'm at right now. I have 2 5-gallon tanks over there. One is a planted 5-gallon beta aquarium, and the other one is just a 5-gallon saltwater quarantine tank. And then I have a 2-foot tall, 3.5-gallon wine glass saltwater aquarium over there. But right now, it has a problem. It's got dinoflagellates in it. And I know why, but it's very difficult for me to get them out of there right now because it's such a small tank. I'm very limited at what animals I can put in. And without any animals being in there, the nutrients are staying very low in that tank. So it has dinoflagellates in it because of that. But we're going to get that taken care of. We'll get it. We'll get it there in the end. I'm going to move the camera over to right there because I need to check the salinity. Actually, no, I don't. I need to move this pump around because all the salt hadn't dissolved yet. There we go. I'm mixing salt water in that 55-gallon drum back there because I need to do a water change on my tank. I was going to check the salinity, but it isn't ready to check yet. So I've been in the saltwater aquarium hobby for about 25 years. It's been a long time. I've been keeping aquariums of all different kinds for about 35 years. So been a long time. Been in it for quite a while. Yeah. So if you're interested in saltwater, I'm your guy. I can teach you how to do it for sure. Yeah. In addition to the YouTube channel, I also make content on the Clock app. You guys know which one I'm talking about. We have a Discord group server as well as a Book of Faces group, and they're all called Reef Rookies with Logan. So you can find me that way in those other places if you want to, check those out too. So my 50-gallon was made in 1999. Does that make it a vintage tank? I don't know what the classification for vintage is. I think it's 40 years. I think it would be called a classic. If you were talking about like muscle cars and stuff, I think 25 years old is considered to be a classic. And then vintage is like 40, and then like 50 is antique or something like that. I don't remember. But a tank made in 99 is at this point 25 years old. That's a very old aquarium. That silicone has been holding on to that glass for a very long time. And I would be really, really careful about making sure that that tank is in good shape. making sure that silicone is still structurally sound. It's 25 years is a long time, especially if it sat dry for a number of years. Yeah, just be careful with it. You know, check it over really good. Make sure that everything is how it should be. If you find yourself in a situation where you need to get another tank, oftentimes that was a weird noise. I don't even know what that noise was. Oftentimes Petco does, unaffiliated, not sponsored, whatever. They'll do the $1 a gallon sale, and you could end up with another 50-gallon tank for $50, you know, plus tax, of course. But they do that. So be on the lookout for that. If any of you guys are looking at having to pick up a new tank, you know, I think they do that about once every 3 months. They have that $1 a gallon sale. And then sometimes they'll do like a 50% off all their glass aquariums, you know, stuff like that. So if you need a tank, just be on the lookout for that. Wait for it to come around and pick one up on the cheap. But yeah, old tanks is definitely something, you know, it's a concern. It's you know, for sure something you want to keep your eye on. But yeah, anyway, super cool. I do appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us during the live stream. If you don't know who I am, if you've never been here, my name is Logan. I run Reef Rookies, where I teach people how to do saltwater aquarium stuff. We have a coral show coming up this weekend here local to me, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to sell some buy some corals. I don't sell corals. I do sell test kit organizers. I 3D print them. So if you use Saltwater test kits for your saltwater aquarium and you want an organizer where you know what? Let me show you. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave. I know you thought about leaving. Don't leave. I'm coming right back. So I designed these from scratch, and I 3D print these things here in my own home, and I sell them to try to make money to pay for corals. See, here we go. This is what it looks like. And look at that. Like 7 people left. I told you guys don't leave. So anyway, I make these things. Each one of the individual ones, they come out of the main tray like that. Super cool. Makes it easy to carry your test kits around. And yeah, if you want one of these, you can get in contact with me. There's all kinds of ways to get in contact with me. I sell these things for $40 shipped in the continental United States. That includes shipping. So if you want one, you can have one. I have sky blue, royal blue, and white left right now that I have already made. So yeah, the red one is mine. I keep that one for me. That was the first one that actually worked out and everything fit like it should. So it was pretty cool. Oh, my back, man. Sorry. I have a back injury. Got to have surgery soon. So anyway, that's why I'm sitting down. But yeah, so what other questions do we have, everybody? Let's get some questions rolling in the chat so we can have things to talk about. So if you've never had a saltwater aquarium before, you probably have heard that it's really, really hard to keep a saltwater aquarium. And I would say this, it is a little bit harder than freshwater due to the amount of things that can happen and stuff that can go on in your tank. There's just not as much that can happen in a freshwater tank as there is in a saltwater aquarium. Oh, Christy. Okay, everybody, let's pivot right quick and talk to Christy. You say you are without power. What do you need to do? So there's a couple things that you can do. If you can get to a store that has a sporting goods section, hang on one sec. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'll be right back. Let's see here. Yep, here it is. So if you can get to a store that has a sporting goods section or a fishing section, you can get something like this. They call them buddy boxes or bait pumps or whatever. It's a battery operated air bubbler. And you can get this, put it in your aquarium, and this will pretty much take care of your fish. You know, now if you have corals in your tank and you can't you can't turn your lights on, then that's going to be a different ball game. If you can get them some exposure to the sun, that might help, but without the lights on the tank, the corals are going to have a really hard time. But yeah, something like this could save your tank. You could go get you one of these, get, you know, a 6-pack of D-cell batteries to run this thing with, and you can this thing will run for a couple weeks on 6 D-cell batteries. Oh, you have just one cichlid. Okay. Well, in that case, you could just get one of these. Or if you can't do this, you could manually agitate the water in the aquarium. You could scoop water out manually and just pour it back in. And you could do that. So that's one way. The main thing is you want to make sure that the fish has enough oxygen. And the way that we do that is by breaking the surface tension on the surface of the water. The bubbles from air stones don't actually put oxygen into the water. It's when they break on the surface and they roll that water over on the surface. That's where the oxygen saturation comes through into the water. So if you break that surface tension in any way, you can add oxygen to the water. So scoop water up and pour it in. Just do it for about 5 minutes, every couple of hours with just one cichlid. You're going to be okay. Or you can take something like a whisk, like a cooking whisk, a baking whisk, and you just put it in the tank, pinch it between your hands, and you can just do like this and just really stir the surface of that water around. You could do that. That will be enough. Now, when you're sleeping, don't know what you're going to do while you're sleeping. Maybe set an alarm and wake up every 2 hours and stir the tank or something like that. That's going to be, about the best that you could hope for in that situation. So yeah, I know you guys got hammered up there by Hurricane Helene, and it sucks because most of that area was not prepared for anything like that. And I hate it. I am sorry that happened up there. I have a lot of friends up there, and a lot of them have very big issues right now. So yeah, no problem, Goldies. Happy to see that you're still hanging around. Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate that, Christy. Really, I do. I know it's bad. It's super bad. Like very, very bad. And it sucks. I saw one video on the clock app where the water had risen on this person's property like 100 feet. And it was basically like they lived on top of a hill, and like the river that was down in the valley came all the way up the hill and up into their raised frame house and was almost to the top of the windows in the house. It was absolutely crazy. Yeah. So it was a wild time, that's for sure. But yeah, so anyway, that's pretty much all that's been going on with my tank. I'm just trying to get the algae and everything sorted out, because whatever the algae was that I had in this tank, I haven't gotten an actual positive ID on that algae yet, but it basically killed corals on contact. Whenever it touched them, it would kill them. So I think that's pretty much gone. I need to do some tank maintenance. It's time to do a water change and clean out my skimmer and all that stuff. And I need to scrub the rocks off to get rid of some more of this algae, which I'm doing. I added GFO to the tank. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's granular ferric oxide. I put it in a reactor down here underneath the bottom, and it started sucking the phosphate out of the water in the tank. So the algae is definitely doing a thing, going away. I was really hoping that I wouldn't have to do that. I like to keep my tanks as simple as possible, but evidently it's going to be required with this tank. So anywho, that's what I've done lately. Hopefully with the coral show coming up Saturday, I'll be able to get a bunch of corals and put them in the tank, because things are looking much better. I know you can't really see a lot of the corals in here right now, but there's a bunch. There's some rock flower anemones. There's a chalice here. There's a torch right here behind me. Why don't we go take a look at them? Let's do that. Let me unplug this. And let me get my little we'll flip it around. It didn't flip. There we go. And I'll get my little cover here. Whoop, just like that. And we can take a look at the tank. So these corals right here, there's still some of that algae on them. You can see what that stringy looking crap, but at least they're opened back up. So that's good. All the little polyps are all opened up. That's definitely good. That algae, you can see it right there on that rock. Stuff just went, and look on this, it just won't go away. I can't get it to go away. And check this out, for all you freshwater folks. You should recognize that fish. If it'll come back around. Yeah, sailfin molly in a saltwater aquarium. So those fish can actually tolerate salt water. So that one has been completely saltwater converted, and he's just fine. So anyway, here's my rock flower anemones. I have 3 of them. The flow is currently pushing them kind of up from the bottom, but that's all right. And then these guys right here are mint chocolate chip zoas. And these up here are Miami Vice zoas. More of that algae all around those. That is a type of SPS. It's a hard skeletonized coral. It's called a slimer or a slime ball. And let's see. We have a chalice here that needs to be fed. And there's my clownfish. That's pretty cool. This is called a torch coral. And these are called pink diamonds. And they have that algae on them as well. Some of it's green hair algae, but some of it's some other kind of bad, nasty stuff. This is called a Duncan coral. This is a very upset, almost dead bird's nest coral. This is one of the ones that that algae started really working on really hard. And let's see. This is a Favia, and these are acans. That is a pink hammer, and this is also a different type of hammer. These are Recordias. That is Leptoceras. Bunch of different kinds of corals in here. Up back there, I have a white pincushion urchin, so that's pretty neat as well. And then another piece of that same type of SPS. And here's some fire and ice zoas. Golly, there's more algae in the tank today than I thought. And then I have another acan over there that's mad. And then that big rock right there is chock full of zoanthids and also some stuff that we don't want, those pointy looking things. Those are called Aptasia. We really don't want those, but I haven't taken the time to get them out of the tank yet. So anyway, the tank is coming back around. I've had to do a bunch to get it all cleaned up and try to get rid of this hair algae, but obviously it's just hanging on. It doesn't want to go. So anyway, we'll take you over here and show you the wine glass aquarium over on this side over here. So that's what this area looks like. This is my quarantine tank for saltwater. This is my freshwater planted beta tank. And that dude's name is Sam. So anyway, and then this is the, well, I could take that off. This is the wine glass saltwater aquarium. It's about 3.5 gallons. And currently, all this brown junk that you can see, those are dinoflagellates. That's not supposed to be there. But I'm going to have to get rid of those too. And then there's a pulsing xenia coral up here. It's one of the only corals that moves like that on its own. So that's pretty cool. Eventually, the goal with this tank is to be able to remove this little hang on the back filter and just let the tank be basically a self-sustaining ecosystem. So it's going to get there eventually. It is not there yet, but we're going to get there one day. So it's pretty cool. There are a few things popping up here and there. There's, let's see, here, one of the snails that I have in the tank. And I was looking for some of the other ones. This red stuff that's growing on this rock right here is cyanobacteria. And I figured I was going to have problems like this with this tank because it's so small and there's so little water flow in here. That's a perfect zone for that kind of stuff to grow. And that's my dog Wheatley. So anyway, are you guys just not saying anything, or are the comments not working? You have to let me know, because I don't know. I haven't had any new comments in a few minutes, but I don't know if that's just because everybody's there on lunch and you guys are just like listening to me ramble on, or if maybe something's going on and the comments are not coming through. Let me get some water right quick. And to check the salinity in this water over here to see where it's at. All right, so we'll put that over there. And let's check this out. So I use an analog device called a refractometer to check salinity. This is what I use. This thing here has calibration solution that it comes with. And calibrating it is very important. And your calibration solution needs to be at the same temperature as the water. So I drop that bottle in the water and I just let it sort of temperature acclimate itself for a little while before I check the salinity in the water that I'm mixing up. That's it's an important thing. You want the salinity to be exactly where you need it to be. So yeah, anyway, welcome. If it's your first time here, I'm Logan. I run Reef Rookies and teach people how to do saltwater aquarium stuff. So that was a weird sound. If you have any questions about saltwater aquariums or, anything about them that you want to talk about, let me know. Oh, thanks for the subscription. I appreciate that. That's going to help me grow. It means a lot. We're doing pretty good with the channel. It's not quite a year old yet, or it's right at a year old. 2,000 subscribers, which is not too bad. I'm pretty pleased about that. Mark says, hey, I happen to have off work today, and there you are. Sweet, man. Nice to see you. Yeah, it was just a little bit of an impromptu thing. I decided to do a little live stream over here on the old tube of you, you know what I mean? And I'm doing a water change. I'm getting ready to check the salinity in my water change water. We just chilling and talking about salt water. Camille says, I love your tank. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Here, I'll let you see the rest of it. It goes way over there. So yeah, asymmetrical aquascape there on the tank. Oh, ow, I like the way that it looks. Man, my back is really screwed up, you guys. I'm going to be having surgery soon to fix it. But yeah. So anyway, that's not going to be a fun time. But yeah. Welcome to the stream, Camille. I don't think we've ever seen you here before, but that's no big deal. Cool. Happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. We were just getting ready to check the salinity in my water that I'm making up to do a water change. Mark says, problem with my bird's nest. Yeah, me too. Pretty sure it's almost dead. What went wrong if all the parameters are good? So if all your parameters are good and none of them have been swinging lately, then it's probably either a pest, too much light, not enough flow, or potentially even a fish picking on it or something like that. So I have a bird's nest as well. It is right up here on the top of this rock. They like a lot of light, so you want it sort of high up in the rock zone, closer to the lights, depending on what light you have, which you could drop that in the chat if you want to. Let me know what lights you have. But it's also in direct line of flow from this pump. This pump hits right that way. So the bird's nest has direct flow on it all the time. They like high light and high flow. And Mark, when you say your parameters are good, would you mind listing your parameters down in the chat just so I can take a look at them? We got 27 people hanging out in here with us, you guys. That's pretty cool. It's hard to get people in your live on YouTube, so I appreciate all of you guys hanging out with me. Camille says, just came across you. Good thing you're live. Very timely, as I'm planning on having a saltwater tank. I have a freshwater tank right now. Well, that's freaking cool, Camille. So let me tell you what all we have for you. I have the YouTube channel that's growing and doing great. I also have a channel over on the Clock app where I make videos over there as well. It's under Reef Rookies, just like this one. We have a Discord server for the same name, and a Book of Faces group. I can't say the names because then they don't like it when you say the names. But there's a Book of Faces group as well called Reef Rookies with Logan. And our number one rule is everybody must always remain respectful of all the other members of the group. You will not be treated poorly in my Facebook group. I won't allow it. If anybody gets sideways in my group, I just said the word I wasn't supposed to say. And immediately the stream dropped by 7 people. Anyway, if anybody gets sideways in my group, they get deleted. They get banned immediately. So it's in the rules. You read them when you sign up. So anyway, if you would like to join any of those places, I'd be happy to help you get started in your saltwater journey. That's what I do. Make product recommendations for people to help them build and set up their tanks, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found me. If you have any questions, Camille, drop them in the chat. Thank you for the subscription too. I appreciate that. Josh, yeah, I do have live coral in the tank. I did a tank tour just a few minutes ago. I thought that you were here, man. Let's see. Mark says, I haven't written my parameters down. All I have is a bunch of frags. Most are softies. So it's basically what the salt is. Okay, Mark. So answer me this. Are you checking? There's basically like 8 things we need to check, right? Salinity. And then we need to check the main things here are pH, nitrates, phosphates, calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity. If you're not checking all of those things at least once a week, you really ought to consider starting to do that, because you're going to have to be able to know when those things are changing, right? Now, you can help keep that all stable by doing 10% water changes every week, but that doesn't always make sure that all the problems are resolved, right? So if you're not tracking those things, and there's an app that you can download called Aquatic Log, and you can log one aquarium for free, and it would that allows you to see a graph of how your parameters have been in the past, because one of the things that happens that causes corals to look poor is a swing in a parameter. So if your pH has been running at 8.2 for the last month, and then you wake up today and you check it and it's 7.8, that big dip could be a problem, you know? So it's really hard for me to say what could be going on with your tank without, you know, knowing everything that's going on. But it's either related to a bad parameter, a pest, water flow, or light. One of those things is causing you that problem. Josh has so much going around listening when you can. The kids are screaming. I got you, man. No worries. Beanbag, what a cool name. Ha, I love it. Beanbag says, what low light, soft corals would you recommend? Low light, soft corals. So you could get some Recordia Yuma. Those tolerate low light. They're not too bad. Acans are they're an LPS. They have a skeleton. They're not technically a soft coral, you know, but they're not bad either. Duncans also have a skeleton, but they're not bad. They're an LPS as well. Zoas and pallies, I mean, I like zoanthids and I like pallies as well, but they just have a mind of their own sometimes. Sometimes you'll wake up one day and your zoas will be closed up and there's no reason why. And I don't really like that aspect of keeping them, but they're not bad. Scolemia are good. I wouldn't say it's a beginner coral, but they can be pretty aggressive and whatnot with their feeding tentacles and their sweepers and stuff. So I wouldn't say it's a beginner coral, but it is it's soft because it's squishy. You know. What else? Let me look at my tank right quick. Rock flower anemones would be a really cool one. They don't need a whole ton of light. They don't need a lot of flow either, and they're really, really pretty. Technically, they're not a coral; they're an anemone, but they don't really move around nearly as much as the other types of anemones do. So, like, I've got 3 of them right here on this rock, and they've been right here on this rock since I put them in the tank well over a year ago. So, yeah, those are some that you could look at. I'm just trying to think of some of the other ones. How much experience do you have reef keeping, Beanbag? Let me know. I mean, are you just setting up a brand new tank, or is your tank, you know, or you've been doing it for, you know, some time? Let me know what's going on with that. Let's go check the salinity of this water. I'm gonna do this right quick. I'm probably not gonna be able to see the comments from where I'm at. Yeah, definitely not, even with the glasses. All right, so the calibration solution has been temperature acclimated. Always use calibration solution to calibrate whatever device you're going to be using to check your salinity with. If, you know, it's very important that you do that. And we're going to see with my device right now if the calibration is still good. It might be. It might not be. We're going to drip some of this on here. Glasses up. because I can't see it with them on. We'll close that lid just like that. And nope, it's off. It's not off by much, but it is off, which is why I always tell people every single time you're going to check your salinity, or at least every session that you're going to check your salinity. If you know, like I'm calibrating it now. I'm going to put it down and I'm going to come back in like 10 minutes and check the salinity again. You don't have to recalibrate at that point, but it's been about a week since I used this thing. And so calibration was definitely required, which is now good to go. So yeah, if you guys don't know what it is, this is, it's called a refractometer. I wonder if I could show you what it looks like. Let's try it. So let me see if I can get this up to the camera here. Up, there we go. So that's what it looks like on the inside. You can see where the white and the blue separate from one another. That is the line of where the salinity is at in the water that I'm testing. So that's what it looks like when I'm looking through this thing, pointing it up at the sky. So this is the tool that I like to use. It's the one that I'm most comfortable with. It is, I've been using a refractometer like this for about 15 years. There is another tool that you can get called a hydrometer, and it's a little clear thing, and it has a floating needle in it, inside it. Don't get that. Don't get that. Just save yourself the headache of trying to use that thing accurately, because you're probably not going to be able to. This needs to be very clean. Those needle swinging hydrometers, I hesitate to say that they're trash, but the only place I would put one is in the trash. I just really don't like them. They're not very accurate. They have a high possibility for error when you're using them. So I wouldn't personally recommend getting them. And I mean, this thing is $20 on Amazon, you know? So if you're going to spend $20 on something, you might as well get something that's very accurate. All right, look. So let's get a little, dadgummit. All right, there we go. So we got a little water out of here. We're going to check it and see what the salinity looks like. And I got a bubble in it. Dadgummit. All right, I think we're good. So we're going to check this one and see where we're at. We are at 1.016, which is too low for a reef tank. My tank runs at 1.025. That's the target. That's the best place if you're going to have corals and fish. You're going to do a mixed reef. That's the best place to keep it. You know, 1.026 is fine. 1.024 is fine as well. Or if you measure in parts per thousand, you would say like 34 to 35 ppt. It's good right there. I like to run mine about 35, which is 1.026, you know, but it really doesn't matter. As long as you're 024 to 026 or you're 34, 35 ppt, you're fine. So with that being low, we need to add some more salt to the aquarium, or to the water rather. So I'm just going to scoop up that much and put that in. We're going to let that mix for a while, and then we'll check it again and see where it's at. This towel doesn't towel very well. It doesn't suck anything up. So anyway, what kind of questions you guys have? Thought for sure we'd have a question about in the chat by now. So do you guys, those of you who are here, do you have an aquarium, or are you just thinking about getting one, or what you got going on? Beanbag says, awesome, thanks. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. Happy to help. All right, I am going to have a cough drop because I have throat issues for some reason too. I don't know what's up with that. Neither do the doctors. But anyway, thanks for the subscriptions that you guys have dropped on me so far. If you guys would like the stream, it'll help send the stream out to a couple more people. We're coming up on about an hour going now, so not too bad. We've had one super chat by a guy named Tap, a good friend of mine, and I thank him very much for that $20 super chat. That was amazing. This is right now how I supplement my income being off work due to this injury. So anything like that is always very much appreciated. Definitely. So anyway, yeah, you guys can find me on those other places that I mentioned earlier, especially if you want to have more, like reading about what you need to do with your tank. We have that Book of Faces group. You can hop in there. Shorter type videos I'm doing here, some here, but I also have those over on the Clock app too. So yeah, anyway, okie doke. Well, that was a pretty cool little stream. It seems to be dying down a bit though, which typically happens with YouTube streams. So I'm going to go ahead and end here, and I'm going to go live again over on the Clock app under the same name. Things get a little bit crazier over there on the Clock app. The chat sometimes gets really wild, and I get 35 or 40 messages behind. But I do appreciate everybody who stopped by the stream today. I think I have something from the stream that I can turn into a cool little video. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go over there, and we're going to keep going. So yeah, if you want to keep chitting and chatting about saltwater tanks, be sure to come over there and hang out with us over there. But I think we're done here for the day. Anyway, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.